I'm an American, and I saw coming this war against Ukraine about 6 months before it happened, the very first time. And it was right when Jordan Peterson was saying that maybe we should be friends with Russia. And what if Russia's a Christian nation? No, he said, what if Russia's a Western nation? Now, Russia is a Christian nation, and that's really what he meant by his question, what if Russia is a Western nation? And because Russia is financially independent from the satanic financial levers of the United States, that's diabolically intent on keeping Christianity in a box. The evil United States apparatus did not want to let that conversation continue, because the national discourse at that time is around mid-2022, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong, but it's roughly around that time. I think actually no, I think it was actually the beginning of 2021 when that conversation about Russia was starting to happen. Is if that had to continue to unfold as a national discourse, we would have ended up at the old Frankish kingdoms, which is modern day France and Germany. But it's also the seat of Charlemagne, who was a singular most important person who lived next to Christ, because he changed the entire trajectory of European culture from one that was Hellenic to completely Christian, and created a brand new culture out of nothing, when there was nothing. It was just a wasteland of increasingly powerful servants with less and less land to bequeath. And that was a disaster. It was a death spiral, similar to what we have here in America. So they essentially had a bunch of Jeff Bezos-like characters and Mark Zuckerbergs running around 768 AD, and the king wasn't even the real person who had authority. And then finally, the person who did have authority, who was a prefect of the palace, this time he was actually a good one, he said, "This is perverse. Why are we doing this?" So he took King Childeric, had his hair shorn, put in a monastery, and he declared war against a few nation states. And he won. And when he finally won, he sent a cryptic letter to the Pope, writing, "Is it right that the man who wears a crown has no power, and the man who wields all authority has no crown upon his head?" So that was a clear indication, a rhetorical question, that he should be crowned king. And it's also a political alliance. So the Pope said, "It's not right. By apostolic authority, I hereby proclaim you King of the Franks." And the rest is history. Pippin III became, King of the Franks, and then his son was named Charlemagne, or was King Charles at the time. But sometime after his death, he's been christened as Charlemagne. And what we don't realize, or what a lot of mal-educated people here do not realize, because it was hidden from us, they tried to distort it and reduce Charlemagne's influence and significance as much as possible. Even the wars over relics that were extremely important in Western history, that would blow one's mind, what devotion people had to Christian relics, and the wars that they fought over them to liberate them from the grubby hands of pagans. And it's just amazing what fervor still remains in the world for Christ in Russia. We should be very thankful for that. So here's why I'm making this video. As an American who's also survived the Monterey Park mass shooting in 2023, and there's a cover-up of government involvement all the way up to the highest levels. This is not limited to the confines of a particular president, although it started in the Biden administration. This has actually been a creeping thing, a very, very racist, to try to hurt Chinese people. I knew they were going to try to do something to hurt them, and they ended up committing this massacre. And then they burned down 5 predominantly Chinese neighborhoods. And I'm not going to get into this whole thing, but there was gaslighting in the media, and they made it very clear that they were insinuating that Chinese were being effectively targeted by the state, even Chinese Americans. So here's my point. As someone who has been seeking marriage with a Chinese woman and has already faced multiple attempted kidnappings on my life by my family for pursuing interracial marriage with a Chinese woman. Some Christians they are, huh? I demand from this government restitution for that shooting, as well as full immunity as an eyewitness for myself and all the survivors. But secondly, I'm putting it to the people of the United States that you are not free. You've never been free. You know you're not free. And it really takes a lot of arrogance for the media to continually call Russia Putin and the Kremlin. Oh my God, it's the Kremlin. And because they don't ever want to refer it to as the bastion of Christendom, the renewed nation of Christ in Russia that we've been praying for, that the Soviet Union would finally dissolve back into for over 70 years. Because we've been praying for this moment, and now they're finally beating back the financial levers that are inherent in Ukraine as a fake country, a fake government, a puppet regime set up by the United States. So this is why they stuck missiles in Russia's face in 2021 to try to goad them into war, because Jordan Peterson, who had such a following worldwide, that when he said that we should be friends with Russia, he threatened to upend the entire satanic system of the United States, because it's all based on illusion and fear, power by fiat. And that is what World War II was all about. It wasn't about anything else except whether Europe is going to be ruled by the Holy Church again, or it's going to go full throttle towards this idea of letting power be levied by fiat through digital currency, streams of credit, just more and more, further and further abstraction. And this abstraction issue has been a major problem, biting into and hollowing out the substance of Christianity in Europe as the true forms. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. If they could get rid of faith, replace it with a fiat monetary system, they could effectively acquire just about anything they wanted by devaluing it enough that if they just have enough numbers on a screen they can print, then they can just take people's land away. And it wasn't that easy in some cases, particularly in Europe, but in the United States, they took everyone's land away. They took everyone's freaking land, all the farmland, acres and acres. You no longer have an heritable right to farm your own land and make money off of it, a real domestic product. So you're a slave. Every man is a slave to his neighbor working some job. And if you have a other kind of business, you better hope to God it's going to work for you. So this is crap. This is not a good fallback position for everyone to be stuck with one or two things, if they're lucky, hoping it'll work out. This is madness. It's evil. It's a form of subjugation. Just as it was a form of subjugation to endlessly send young people, an entire generation, to war, to try to dilute the strength and vigor of male society in this country. And now if you look, the people who have come after my generation are so docile. I remember in the years 2020, 2021, 2022, even 2023, I've seen young kids, 18, 19, some even 16, who looks like they're going mad in their eyes when they were playing on these phones. And I never seen that before. As a person who has grown up on technology, it's just media. As a person who's grown up on this stuff, like video games and computers, I still had never seen someone's eyes like that, and so many of them have their eyes look like they were losing their marbles. And they were losing their marbles from the devices. They weren't losing it from anything else. Now, how come my eyes don't look like that when I use this device? I hope they don't look that way when I use this device, but I don't think they do. But what I saw and observed was shocking. What if they have a greater susceptibility to this issue because they're exposed earlier and longer? Or what if this emasculating effect, this domestication of humans, is actually just more potent because the technology is now more potent to do that? And what if there is actually a deliberate scheme to make human beings more docile and more domesticated in that kind of way, so it affects their eyes, like in dogs? And that's precisely what I saw. It was complete different kind of change. And I'm talking about multiple different points, but my main thesis is this: we want the United States government to come to an end. We hate what they're doing to Christianity. We hate what this country does to Christ. We hate what this country does to Jesus. We hate the satanic, Masonic United States. We want nothing to do with it. All of Washington, D.C. was deliberately geometrically designed after Masonic concepts and ideas that had no place in traditional Christian European or even Christian American ideas. These were forms of magic practice and the occult, the way that they did this geometry. It was very deliberate and very satanic, with a lot of points crossing each other in ways that resembled pentagrams more than anything else. And just the diagonal lines that were just endless. How could anyone not see this? And this was done in the 19th century. Now we found out, and the lid's been fully blown off this now, it's on YouTube, the Masons have taken over the Holy Catholic Church very deeply in the 20th century. And it's been a very difficult fight to wrest control of the church back from them. They infiltrated as outsiders who are not faithful at all to Christianity. And a lot of them are still in there. There were guys who were tough to get rid of for 3 papacies. 3 of them. That's actually 2 papacies. But there are guys who probably lasted 3 popes who are still there, who are satanic cultists. And that would explain a lot for what kind of shit was done in the Vatican that we sometimes hear about. So, as a Catholic Christian, I'm sick of this country. This is not a legitimate polity. And we want our Jesus back. We want him back. We want him in power. We want the church in power. Until he comes again, we want the Christians to rule. We want the church to rule. And we're not going to let any more of these damn lawyers and financial representatives into the government anymore. You losers can go pack up, get your bags, and get the fuck out of here. Take your gains and go someplace else. We don't want you.